We have a guest that you're not going to see, but you know who it is.
My mic is back.
Riley.
Miss Wilson. Welcome back to Cat and Cat, and today we're Cat and Cat with Rye Guy. Mm-hmm. Hi.
Hello.
Hopefully the third mic works because we want to have guests on that aren't me, like a third person to talk to, like have on different people to talk about different topics. So hopefully this continues to work.
That'd be fantastic.
Drop comments of who you want on the pod.
Giddy up. What are we doing today? Our people have questions for us, like the family, the DTC family have written down questions for us to answer.
Yeah, it's like apprentice questions. Senga is technically a junior now, but she's also asking questions in the vibe of like the fact that she started her apprenticeship here and has only been here. And
okay,
so it's like apprentice questions for the mentors, the teachers,
that's
vibe.
That's fun. We're going to be brutally honest, right?
Yeah, so I have questions from Senga and Lex and Ange.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna. Should I do like all of one person's at a time or flip flop in between or?
Do one person at a time.
Sure.
That's a lot of
especially if it's specific to that person, then that would be good to know that we're still on that.
Do you guys have a preference on who we start with?
Let's not give them that kind of control.
no.
No. Okay, I'll start with Senga's.
Okay. Also known as Banga. Zanga.
Oh, Lex's are in here too. Okay.
Bangerino.
Banger. Yeah.
Okay. First question. What would make you throw out a portfolio?
So many things.
Stolen artwork.
I don't want to be like super picky, but if it's not properly presented, like it doesn't have to be perfect, but if it was like dirty, and there's like coffee stains all over the sheets and like if it looked gross, do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know why that came to head first, but it's like if I was going to go in and apply somewhere, which I, when I moved to Toronto, I went and applied to a bunch of places. I had individual ones that I left at every studio that I wanted to go to. And they were like, it was so particular. Like it should be presentable to a degree,
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely would throw it out if it were like, not properly arranged, filthy in any way. But also my brain immediately went to like, if I recognize something as stolen artwork.
Yeah.
The fuck? Going right in the bin.
Yeah. I want to go even further than that and say the person, I think I'd be more inclined to how the person acted as opposed to their artwork, because a lot of art can be taught, whereas a lot of like attitude and personality can't be changed. And I'm not saying that we're like, vetting people in terms of like their personality wasn't for me. It's just more of if someone has like a really bad attitude or they come in and they're like saying that they've taught themselves and which some of us are self-taught, which is fine. But I just mean, I think it has to do with like the approach of how you go about it, So I feel like if there's like any major red flags, I feel like that would sooner make me want to pass up on a portfolio than the actual artwork. Yeah. But if someone's super humble and, eager and really sweet and,
Give them a shot.
We don't want any more apprentices though, so please don't come.
No.
I was literally just thinking I need to title this episode, So You Want an Apprenticeship. But not here.
Not
We're
here.
done
Not
for a second.
Yeah, not for a hot minute. If you're an artist,
An established artist.
you giddy up. I don't know why did I say that twice today. I'm gonna ride a horse.
Yeehaw.
Yeehaw!
Yeah.
It's happening.
It's because Toby Keith died. His energy went and
see?
maybe Katrina's baby's gonna be the reincarnation of Toby Keith.
Wow.
Just kidding.
There we
Recipes.
go.
Okay, so the next question was, what would you have changed about your apprenticeship, which we've already answered in the past, but did you do that in their apprenticeships? So like, was there things that you really didn't jive with in your apprenticeship that you made sure not to do with your apprentices?
Yes. Everything. Like my experiences, I mean, Kat and I have similar but quite different experiences, I would say. I was, kind of self-taught. I had someone show me the ropes locally and then I moved away. Yeah, there's I have so much respect for the people who took the time to teach me that I don't want to sit here and say that they didn't do a good job, because they did, and I wouldn't be where I am without them. So I just want to start off with that. But there's definitely, I wish there was more structure, not in micromanaging. Like, I'm glad that I was just kind of like, you're going to get out of it what you put into it. This is kind of the baseline. But yeah, I wish that there was, maybe I was held more accountable. I was pushed a bit more. Yeah, that's pretty much what comes to my off the top of my head.
Yeah. I primarily did like front desk.
Yeah, you were like of the old school training where you basically are you're the shop bitch and like run the front desk, which has been happening for years. I don't agree with it, but like that's a very old school.
No, I'm the shop bitch.
Yeah. So like obviously we didn't do that to the apprentices because we have an administrative manager.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that taught me a lot. And it also taught me that it's something that I do not thrive in or want to do for myself as an artist. But yeah, that was the main one that we pulled away from, is the old school kind of, shop bitch, where you're answering the phone, answering emails, waivers, and like cleaning constantly. Though we did have them like learn your proper like tear down setup, sanitization, and cleaning of the overall studio. But we had a lot of, it was the structure that we were lacking. We didn't have structure.
Yeah.
I liked it that we made ours like kind of assignment based. We put things in their calendar. They had to have drawings and drafts for their work completed by a specific date, as well as like time on fake skin, time on lines, time on given projects. Like I had nothing like that. And I think I want to say it's an improvement on what both of us have experienced.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's going to be a matter of an opinion, but I know that we both did the best that we thought was needed, and things that we wish we both would have had. And I think that I've seen more and heard more than actually experienced myself in terms of how brutal our industry can be. Like, people get used all the time.
Yeah.
They'll be hired on, they'll be used as a shop bitch for a year. They literally get taught nothing and then they get fired.
Yeah.
Like, it's rough out there. And it's hard to get an apprenticeship, so people take advantage of that.
Yeah, for sure.
I have a few friends who have studios who charge. They charge, I don't know exactly how much, but kind of like a tuition to get taught, because they've been screwed over by so many apprentices that they were like, I'm not doing this anymore.
Oh, that's, you know what? I kind of get that for like covering cost of supplies that are thrown away in the process.
Oh
of
my God.
apprenticeship.
Yeah.
It is costly on your end for sure.
It's that, I mean, obviously you sign like a legal agreement, but still, like, so I found that interesting.
I'm going to hop over to like one of Angela's questions because it kind of coincides.
Okay.
But she said, should regulations be put in place to protect new apprentices from any types of abuse? So like that be...
Yes, please.
Yeah.
In
like
every industry.
It could be like, physical abuse, emotional abuse, sexual abuse and stuff.
Oh
but
my
even,
God.
like, you guys were just saying like being shop bitch and not being taught anything. Like that is, I feel like there should,
That should
There should be, but there's zero regulation on the tattoo industry.
Yeah, in every industry across the board. But in tattooing, I would, like Kat is kind of leading into, is I wish that we had like a red seal trade, that we were a board that was held accountable. Yeah. Because right now, Algonquin Public Health does what they can, but it's also, that's our region for our health board. There's only so much you can do, and they're not properly educated, in my opinion, to the extent that they could be, because you're really putting people at risk if you don't know what you're doing.
Like, I don't know if larger collectives, like, I'm thinking like Chronic, Adrenaline, and them, where they house 10 plus artists, like, do they have like an HR system? I wonder. Like, it's one of those things where I'm like,
not that I know
if you're
of.
employing that many people, I understand everyone's like a subcontractor and they're technically self-employed, but they're paying into the company kind of thing. I'm assuming that they run similarly. They're
the same setup as us.
I don't know. Part of me expects that there would be some level of HR. Like, I don't know if other tattoo shops do what we do. Like, we have our monthly meetings, we have our mental health check-ins. Riley is mom.
Riley's
like,
HR and all of the above.
Like, she's all of the above, but it would be interesting if there were something, some level of industry standard where we had to hit a mark on that level.
Or just like protecting people too, that like
Yeah.
you were saying that like some artists or some people fuck over their apprentices.
Oh yeah.
Knowing that like if they're going to put the work in, that they will become a tattoo artist, not to just get fired out of nowhere, because
Yeah.
then you're wasting time, because a lot of the times it's free labor.
Yeah.
I mean, you're getting in return, you're getting taught the things, like it's not free, but you know what I mean? Like it would suck to do that and then not get anything out of it. And then you waste a year or two of your life.
I think that you are protected under labor where people are just too scared to go and report things. Same with any sort of
But I feel like
abuse
a lot
is
of
not
tattoo
okay.
shops don't probably even have
Like contracts or
contracts
anything?
and shit. Like I feel like the old school shops,
Yeah.
they're not like being like, here, sign this contract. They don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
It's
like,
like I'm teaching
they
you how to
don't.
tattoo. Did you fucking sign a contract when your apprenticeship? Exactly.
I
Exactly.
did when I worked in Toronto.
Yeah.
I'd like
But I
the
mean,
one
I'm
really
talking like shops like that where I
yeah,
don't think.
like really really
No.
good studios like,
No, like
that are
I-
established usually do.
Nothing at the first shop. The second shop, we had like a meeting, but I don't think I signed a contract.
You didn't do like monthly meetings or anything and like chit chat?
Oh,
Oh, did you guys talk about your feelings?
in that environment?
No. We
No,
did
I went
meetings
outside
at-
the back of the building and cried in the alleyway. Like, go next door to the head shop and smoke a joint and cry a little. Like,
We actually used to tear apart each other's work. It was really beneficial. Like we would sit down in a circle and go over like the pros and cons of however long had passed and like literally tear like the owners would tear us a new asshole about like work that we weren't doing that could be better. And it really kept everyone on the toes. Yeah, the same kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Where you're critiquing each other.
yeah,
It helped. A little
It
scary.
helped, but we're also like, don't do that to me.
Don't do that to me. Everyone learns differently though.
Fragile.
Everyone learns differently. They're gonna get inspiration from other things, right?
Yeah.
So I guess next question is, what would you have done differently in our apprenticeships? So Lex and Senga. I mean, all three of them were on very, very different times.
Very different paths.
Yeah.
That's a good question. Everything I'm saying, okay, I'm not saying on the podcast right now. That's going through my head. Sorry. I mean, obviously, you learn as you go, but like nothing is really standing out that I would say like we really messed up on or that we could have had different direction for, other than like, I mean, like contract stuff, like stuff on my end that I kind of oversighted, but no, anything you can think of?
No, I was just thinking, timelines could have been stretched to include more, like styles of tattooing, I guess.
Yeah, sure.
Where like Senga had started on realism for a minute, and then we just kind of dropped that.
Yeah.
She could very easily be doing realism right now,
Yep.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to, by the way.
I know she doesn't
And
want
you know
to.
what though? I think a lot of it is like we really were good to be like we're not pigeonholing anyone and saying you're doing this style. Like we were really good to be like try anything, and you know,
Yeah.
like even with Lex, like who's crushing it. I was like, hey, do you want to do realism? And we've done it a couple times. But unless someone's like, hey, I want to keep doing this, I'm not like.
One of Angela's questions was, how would you encourage an apprentice to settle in on a specific style?
So that's at a certain time. So if I see someone that's leaning into a specific style
And they're fucking
and they're crushing it, then I'm going to encourage you to keep doing that.
Yeah,
like
like-
Sanga's fucking Flash, people love it. Her style is so unique, and I'm like, can you please do Flash every day for the rest of your life? Because this
Yeah.
is insane.
That's
Like,
like
it's-
Ange. We thought Ange was literally going to be doing like the thumbprint size,
Yeah.
tiny little like initials, symbols, script. And then she's like, I drew 7 pages of colored traditional Flash. And we're like, where the fuck did that
Fucking
come
keep
from?
doing
You
that.
can draw?
Great.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Absolutely.
And even like Lex too, like she like obviously is really good at realism.
Absolutely.
As like even drawing, she's really good at realism. But now she's like, ooh, thick liner, hee I like.
and that's and
and
you
it's
go
like
with
kinda
what you
all over,
like.
Yeah.
Go
Some
with-
artists change their style like halfway through their career.
Yeah.
Way when they're done their apprenticeship.
It's
Like,
it's too early when you're still an apprentice to be like, this is what I'm doing. Like you want to
yeah,
explore
and it's good
stuff.
to have your hands in all the different
Yes.
things.
yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
One thing I would say, like doing differently in their apprenticeships, I mean, all three of them started their apprenticeships at different times. And I think Katrina really wanted it to be like, go with the flow. You'll get out of it what you put into it and stuff. But I feel like we could have been a little bit more strict on like things being done at a certain time. Cause I feel like it just would have pushed them that much harder to like be better, do things quicker. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like it was very like, well, if you have the want, you'll do it.
Yeah.
And I feel like that wasn't always beneficial because I feel like sometimes when it was like, oh, this sucks or this could be better or you need to have this done now, it was like, oh, fuck. And then they produced like the best work that they could have.
You're right. That was definitely an oversight. And I think it's my basis of that is that's how the industry is once you're going.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you're not going to put the energy into it.
Yeah, you grab on and you go, or you don't, you get left behind.
Because we can't do that the whole time. Yeah. Whereas it probably would have maybe pushed them a bit more and set them up for that much more success, I think. So that's actually a good in hindsight.
And all of them learn completely differently. They all have different ways. So it's kind of all over the place. Like there's no set.
Yeah. One thing that's coming to mind is shadowing, but everyone learns differently. So I don't like to like beat down people's throats about, and I hate micromanaging. That's not my thing.
I also feel a lot of that though was them being like scared that they were in your space and you guys were being like, I was on my mentor's asses and was beside them the whole day.
All day.
Everyone would go and be like, oh, is this okay? Ooh, can I do this? And it's like, fucking sit there. But still, I feel like people feel bad and that they're interrupting.
That's how I learned. That's how I learned the most, honestly. And I'd ask questions and like, but again, everyone learns differently and they all figured it out. So we got there.
Okay, so next question Senga had is, why should people apprentice over buying a machine and going for it? Also, if an apprenticeship is not an option for them or available, what's a safe way for them to go about teaching themselves?
There isn't a safe way to teach yourself. Just don't even do that. I have yet to see someone that driven where I was like, I have to give you an apprenticeship. And I mean in the sense of like showing up once a week. I mean, how many times has someone come in and I've given them, be like, oh, like giving them pointers and they never come back. If you want something bad enough, you'll make it happen. You'll move, you'll do whatever you have to. You'll get a part-time job and you'll save and you'll move to another city where you can get an apprenticeship. Don't teach yourself. That is extremely hypocritical because part of mine is self-taught, but that's why I moved to Toronto.
What do you think about like, because when we were talking about it earlier, like people like Niku who like he just learned online through like a course, which I guess is kind of better than you just buying a machine. And
I don't want to say that. I don't want to suggest that. I don't agree with it. I think that there's enough good studios out there with enough research, and if you're willing to make something happen, I think that you'll make it happen for sure.
Yeah, I'm like 80-20 on that because it comes down to like getting your hands on the supplies, and we've talked about it before where it's like teaching yourself bad habits and then trying to unlearn them once you get into a shop setting is a lot. Because you've already got yourself into like this motion of doing something in a specific way and someone's telling you differently and your body's like, well, my fine motor skills have already like adapted to this. I don't recommend it.
Yeah, well, it's even like now watching Lex trying to figure out like skin stretch and do all this stuff now that she's on skin again, but she was already on skin when she was before she worked here. And like it's like watching her, you know what I mean? Like she's asking questions as if she'd never touched a machine before and never had been on skin.
It sets you back, in my opinion. Yeah.
Okay, and Senga's last question is, do you think I'm pretty? Do
you think I'm pretty?
Do you think I'm pretty and talented and cool and awesome?
Yes.
You know, a Leo when you hear that.
Leo ego.
100%.
Yeah. Yes, baby girl.
Do you guys want to, like, should we end each section of their questions? Like, do you guys want to talk about Senga? Like, how...
The bangy boo?
Senga's great. Senga is probably one of the most talented people that I've met. And I think a part of me is like, she fucking knows it. But a part of me is like, I don't think she knows it. I don't think she realizes the potential that she has. I wish that everyone's brain would allow us to work as much as Kat does. Because I don't know where the fuck she'd be if that was the case. Like, it's... she's doing great, so hopefully continue to grow and
that's my baby.
Away you go, you know?
That's my kid.
Yeah, the flash she produces like is shit I've never seen.
Yeah.
Like that.
She weirdo.
What do
She's
we
a
even
little
call that style?
fine line.
Illustrated, fine line, fucking
Creepy
weird.
shit,
And I
yeah.
mean that in the best
Fairy
way.
tale
Like,
goodness.
it's beautiful.
Yeah.
And
illustrative.
personality too. Like, people love Senga. People love everyone that works here. But like, anytime I'm out and they're like, you know, comes up in conversation what I do or whatever, and Senga's the best. Like, she's so sweet. I just hear like she's like such an angel. And I'm like, yeah, she's just like the most authentic person I know. Like, through and through, is always consistent and always herself, right? So you got to respect that.
Okay.
Cute.
Now we're on to Lex.
Okay.
What made you think each of us would be a fit for an apprenticeship, like at our studio?
I thought that Lex would be a fit when we met her. Extremely humble, extremely humble,
So
extremely
scared.
driven.
So scared and so scared in her eyes. She was terrified. She
I didn't really notice that, but I just felt like she was super, super driven and just willing, like just wanted to work.
Yeah.
You've
And
seen that
also,
girl scrub a floor? Like, holy shit.
Also, for context, Ange poached Lex. Literally, Lex works at Starbucks and has a sleeve of tattoos that she did on herself, which she shouldn't have, but she did.
Yeah.
And Ange would go and get coffee, and she was like, "I love your tattoos. Where'd you get them?" And she said, "I did it myself." So Ange literally like gave her a sticky note with like a number and was like, "If you want a fucking apprenticeship, hit
Come
us up."
find us. Yeah.
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 So, and we also like, same with Senga. Senga wasn't gonna apply for the apprenticeship
She was a
that
client.
we posted. She was a client and was talking about how she wanted to be a tattoo artist, and I physically messaged her personally and was like, "Where the fuck is your resume?" Because you are so, because she had like asked about an apprenticeship like a year before, and we weren't looking for one then. And so then when we were looking for one and I hadn't gotten an application from her yet, I was like, "You dumb bitch. I will find you. I will find you."
Yeah. Bring your resume in, bring your little doodles, bring them in now.
Well, maybe not right now.
And then
Well,
Yeah.
oh, you mean in context of her?
in context of her.
Yeah.
And then Ange, we didn't even know Ange was gonna tattoo.
No, it just happened.
It just
and
happened.
She's doing
started
great,
on as
yeah.
a full-time piercer.
Yeah.
And then was like,
I want to tattoo.
Yeah.
she's like, I'll tattoo.
Yeah. and again, like very talented. I don't know if you've all heard her sing, but fuck, she's
You give her something to do, she'll do it.
yeah, music, like piano, guitar, all the things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like we kind of just know when people are a right fit. Like we
Yeah. I feel like we've
take
all
it very seriously here. The vibes are right.
The hive mind.
yeah,
Um.
we've lucked out.
Okay. Next question from Lex is what makes you know an apprentice is ready for skin?
For me, I'm going to say confidence, which I know there's a lot more that goes into it.
Yeah.
But there's a rhythm that you get into when you're on fake skin because there's so many moving parts. You know, maybe you're working with a foot pedal, you have your skin stretch, you're not touching anything because you're remembering that your hands, you can contaminate things. You're dipping in, you have your paper towel. Like there's so many moving parts all the time, and you can tell when someone feels a bit uncomfortable. And then once they have the confidence where, you know, it seems like it's second nature.
It's
you
like
start
a seamless
to see,
flow. It's
yeah.
I call it a ballet. It's the
Yeah.
same thing with like your tear down and your setup. Like
Yes.
someone's doing it seamlessly without like faulting at any point. Where it's just like it's like almost like they could do it with their eyes closed. It's the same thing with getting like on the fake skin and pushing. Yeah, it's definitely a confidence thing. Because even if you don't have like 100% saturation on fake skin, the second you hit your first like client or patch of skin, and then you just see that little like it clicks,
Yeah.
and they're like, oh,
I get it now.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then you just see the consistency of that click.
Kind of just like no too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not
Because
saying
everyone was like at different rates of when they got on skin. Or
Oh,
whatever
for
and
sure,
Stuff. And like
for sure.
literally, I think Lex, like I walked in and I was like, she should probably be on skin soon. And then Kat was like, yeah. Then we called Katrina. Katrina was like, yeah, I was thinking like yesterday. And then so like Lex was like off sick and we called her. We're like, so you're gonna be on skin in like a week. And she was like, what? Like I think that we all just kind of sense it. There's
Yeah.
no like
Yeah.
real
yeah.
deciding factor.
No.
Yeah.
It's like a mix of things.
Same with the junior thing too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, usually it's a year, sometimes it's 2 years. Like it's all over the place. It's just sometimes you're like, oh, they've been like super consistent for a while now. Like they're just crushing it. I'm not worried about them messing up ever. Like it's just like, oh, like they got it. They're good.
Yeah.
Okay, Alexa's next question is what does she need to work on?
What does Lex need to work on? Stop apologizing. Be great. Stop asking Riley, stop asking mom all of the questions, and you can ask the people who are training you, because mom's got other shit to do.
Learn your aftercare instructions.
Learn your aftercare
Yeah, holy
instructions.
shit, woman. No, I did hear, ever since I said that, I've heard she's been saying it. I know she takes the job very seriously and works very hard, and I respect that a lot.
Flash.
Yeah.
Buckle down, baby. Draw.
Yeah, Flash for sure.
Her time management's gotten better, so I can't even say anything about that.
Yeah.
She's gotten fast.
She did that other knee yesterday and did it in shorter time than the first round. She did like the same
Oh,
thing
amazing.
on the
It's
other
like
side.
she'd done it before.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of. That's all that comes to mind. You just got to keep going, because it just takes time to get those things all into a groove. But yeah,
Go, Berta, go.
How does it feel to teach and lead others and watch them grow from your knowledge and experience?
It's quite humbling. I am very, very grateful for the people who taught me and like didn't hold back. Like there was no sense of famine mentality where they're like, oh, if I teach this person, then, you know, they're going to take money out of my pocket and this and that. Like people really gave me all of their knowledge, and I wouldn't be where I am without it. And same with, you know, when it was just like you and I, like Kat and I, and it was a small group, Kat and I would try and help each other the best that we can. And to be able to like take that and give it to someone else feels really good, because you almost feel like you like owe it to the next generation.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Yeah, because like spent like roughly 2 years at each shop prior, and I learned a lot from each of them. They all had their own styles. And then when I came here, I was like hovering over your shoulder even. I'm like, how are you doing that? Because your
Likewise.
style of realism was very different than what I had experienced at the other two shops. And then just being able to take like and apply what you have taught me in realism, and then be like, oh, well, shit, we had like 3-4 apprentices now.
yeah,
And just, work together to teach what we know of the craft, as well as like just expand on, I don't know. It's very interesting.
it is. It kind of did like a little bit of a rebirth for me too, because you're seeing the excitement that they get, and you're like, I remember that. And I still like, I love what I do. And I'm not saying that I don't. I'm just saying, like, when you first start, like, you're so hungry and
It
you
lights
want
a
it.
fire under your ass.
It does. And you're like, and you learn from them too, because you're hearing the perspective of someone who's being taught something and learning something brand new. So they're looking at it from a fresh set of eyes, where, you know, when you've been doing it for so long, you're kind of stuck in your ways a little bit.
Yeah.
And it really helps push you and push those boundaries, and you grow yourself. So, you know, and in a lot of ways, we learn just as much from the apprentices than they do from us. Like the amount of shit that I've learned on Procreate from
I was going to
Senga.
say, that was what my brain just went to,
Yeah.
was like the amount I've learned on Procreate from the girls is like a lot. And then, just like, it's just a lovely little fountain of knowledge for each of us, where it's like, oh, how did you do that? Show me. And then we're just constantly like bopping to each other's station or desk. And
Yeah.
I don't know, just consistently learning something new every day has been great.
Yeah, it's beneficial across
It's nice.
the board.
They're young.
They're young. They're
So,
hip.
like, watching their progress is like insane, and like I feel like all of them, like, well, not really. I mean, I guess Ange too. Her being like, I can't believe that I'm fucking tattooing right now, because that was never in her mind that she was gonna do that. But then
She
also like
crushes it.
just seeing them like in the beginning of their apprenticeships being like, holy fuck, like I'm at a tattoo shop. This is real. This is happening. And then now just like watching them grab their clients, and like just like I was watching Lex yesterday tattooing, and she just like looks like a real like she is a tattoo artist.
Yeah,
but, like,
I know
you know
what
what I
you
mean?
mean.
Like
I
it's
know what you
like
mean.
they're my little ducklings. Like I just like I feel all emotional, because I'm like, oh, like, and like Senga, like she just like always is like so hee like whatever. Oh, I guess I'm tattooing, like I slapping this on or whatever. But then like people when I'm in public are like, Senga,
love
like,
Senga,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's just like
Yeah.
watching them go from like her being so scared to even come here and apply for the position, and me having to sort her out, to now having like a fan base who
I was
are
gonna say,
talking
she's
about
got
her to
fan
me
girls.
Yeah.
in public
Yeah.
is like insane. Like,
Yeah, I know.
it's just like, it's like so cool to watch in real time, and like they're all so deserving of it. And I can't wait to see in like 10 years from now, and they're all just like seasoned vets. Like, it's just really cool to like watch it from day one to now.
I'm so proud.
Yeah. Yeah. And Ange with clients, specifically when she's piercing kids,
Yeah.
she is so fucking good with talking to clients.
Yeah.
And she's just, yeah. Yeah.
What do you find the hardest thing to teach in an apprenticeship?
It depends on the apprentice.
Yeah.
Really depends on the apprentice, because some people pick things up in such a different way. Maybe someone learns at the same kind of learns so differently. So if someone's learning the same way that I would, it's obviously a lot easier for me to teach them. And I think that can go even with like figuring out the person's personality, or how, how they're going to be pushed. Is it going to be being a bit of a hard ass, or is it going to be with like more of a love and like constant reassurance? Like everyone's so different. So it's hard to kind of answer that across the board when we're all such different individuals, and we all tick so different.
What was the question?
Like the hardest thing to teach in an apprenticeship?
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
What advice would you give them for their future in the industry?
Stay humble is probably the hugest, because I've seen some of the most talented artists
inflate their egos and burn bridges and disappear off the face of the earth.
Yeah. And don't let the industry take you down either, because I think that we forget how much pressure we're under when we're tattooing. And, a lot of us wear hard on our sleeves, and some of us has thicker skin than others. And, maybe there's someone who didn't like the design you did, or they didn't like the tattoo as much as you thought that they would. And it can really eat at you sometimes. And, don't forget that we're all human. We are artists at the end of the day, and it's all about learning and growing. So try not to get too much in your own way and in your own head, because that's like a classic artist, is their demise.
You're your own demise. You're your worst critic. Yeah, the main thing is just like remind yourself that you are not a photocopier.
Yeah, no.
You do things to the best of your ability on that given day.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sexy.
She's staying. She wants to stay. I just know that you're going to see it in the playback and be like, why didn't you tell me?
Why didn't you tell me my curls are unruly?
Okay, next question from Lex is, what is something that you love about each of them?
We just did that.
I feel like we really just touched upon that.
I love them all as my babies.
Yeah, like there's things that I would say like personally, like as them as human beings, and then things as them as artists. But yeah, I think that they would know if we didn't love them, for sure.
And then Lex's last question was, have you ever regretted taking me on as an apprentice? And if so, why?
It's that confidence we have to work on.
Well, even like the question before, like I think she was like fishing for like, am I doing a good job?
You're doing a great job.
Yeah. Do you love me?
The validation. Hey, we all like validation.
Yeah.
Yeah. No regrets.
For sure. No regrets. Yeah.
When you're yapping and we're trying to do shit.
Yeah. I mean,
and like Lex in particular, though, like I know that she's going to have a great career. Like she is so humble. She works so hard. She's going to be another cat. Like she's going to be here as we don't have to kick her out. Like she's going to want to work that much. And I have so much respect for that. Yeah. So yeah, I've never second guessed anyone that's still here. That's for sure. I just,
I agree. Everyone's got, I don't know. I love everyone's work ethic.
Yeah. Everyone's great. Everyone inspires each other. We all talk about our feelings.
Much feelings. Okay, so Angie's questions, I already asked 2 of them, so there's technically only one other question that she had. Do you think shops will gravitate towards training apprentices in the future? But I feel like, I don't know, do you see apprentice culture changing in the future due to more interest in the younger generation?
I don't understand the question.
Well, I feel like shops already take on apprentices, so that's kind of redundant.
Okay.
But like I guess like the second part is like, do you think that apprenticeships will change now that like tattooing is a lot bigger, a lot more people want to be tattoo artists? Like, do you think that it's going to be maybe harder to get an apprenticeship because more shops have enough apprentices? Like,
I think just no. I think it's just going to stay the same.
Yeah,
I honestly do. Because there's still just the influx of people just starting to tattoo without an apprenticeship and going private studio, and they all just kind of corral together.
There's tons of that. There's so many home studios.
Yeah.
in Toronto
That
that
makes
are
me
like multiple
sweat.
people tattooing under an apartment?
Yeah, it's the state of apprenticeships have changed. We've seen a shift in that because there's less of that boys club tattoo culture now that we have like
And in like larger cities, there's just like huge collectives now that are like
Yeah.
fucking like, you know, they're like multi-million-dollar companies that have a gajillion artists. Like it's
yeah. I mean, I don't think it's going to change here.
Like in the Sioux or
No,
Canada? Okay.
I don't think
In
it's
like in
going
a
to
small town.
change like in our small town. I think
Yeah.
I also think that there's like not enough. I mean, here specifically, it's not like we have people coming through the door like once every 2 weeks being like, I want to be an apprentice. Like it's very
No.
seldom that people are even looking for apprenticeships.
Yeah. True.
So
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it's going to change. I just think that there's already been like some level of a shift where it's less of shop bitch and more, yeah, let's just like hone into this person's craft and see how they do as an artist. But I think it's
The more that tattoo studios are run as actual businesses, like we charge tax, we have an ATM, you get a T4A at the end of the year, we have employees, we have insurance.
Yeah.
Like that wasn't a thing. That's why, you know, tattoo studios were like number one targeted for getting robbed because it was only cash.
yeah.
Like it, you know, like they were all like a lot of them were laundering money for whatever else they were doing to earn that money. Like it's
Yeah.
there's such an old stigma of all the things that used to go on, and the more that we, you know, legitimize it, the more that it's going to keep growing. But yeah, I don't see apprenticeships necessarily changing.
No.
I hope that across the board the standard changes though. I hope that.
Yeah, it would be cool if there
Yeah.
was like some sort of overhead come into play. And I don't know if that's
They take supplies
Some
off
sort-
of Amazon and stuff too. Would be nice. Like it was.
somebody starts some sort of organization of sort that oversees regions. I don't know how it would work, but it would be nice to be held accountable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you have questions, Riley?
I don't know. I'm not an apprentice. Every day, Katrina's like, you could tattoo. I'm not
You're
going to.
very. I mean, let's talk about that for a second. You're also very artistic.
I guess.
You. Oh, fuck that right now. Say it. Yeah.
Artistic?
Artistic.
Yeah.
You.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not you
I just
guess.
haven't, I haven't created anything in a while, so like I'm not in my art.
You haven't created anything in a while. You fucking edit and run a podcast every week.
Yeah, but I'm not.
You do social media content every week. You do all of our like. Stop it. I know you haven't shot someone's head necessarily. Well, like with a camera. With a camera.
I haven't done a headshot.
No, I
Headshot.
definitely am artistic in a very different realm than you guys are, but
Still artistic. Ange also used to say the same thing. It's
Yeah,
not in the
Andrew's
same
like,
realm.
I cross stitch. I could never to do. I'm like,
Did you?
to do.
And now she's
You
crushing
could,
it.
And now she's crushing it.
Yeah.
I want to tattoo cat's leg just to see.
Yeah,
Just to
next
see.
time I get out working on my blackout, you can put a little heart or something.
I just like don't know how you guys do it. Like I have a shaky hand. You're just putting permanent ink on people's bodies. Wild.
Figure it out.
Yeah.
it just kind of it clicks at some point, and you're like, okay, well, I'm doing this every day until the end of time.
That was it for the questions, but we do love our apprentices very much. They're all crushing it.
Yeah, just the whole environment in general. I mean, we would crumble in about an hour if you left.
Yeah.
The day that I did front desk, I was like, oh, God bless Riley. It's just so monotonous half the time. Like, you deal with a lot. I love you.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. It is very different. I mean, I've worked admin jobs throughout my whole life, but I've definitely learned a lot. I know a ton about tattooing now that I never did. But yeah, it's very different admin than like working at a dentist's office. Like it's a whole other fucking ballgame. So
You want to elaborate on that? Like, obviously, you're not booking in people's teeth cleaning or eyeball checks or whatever.
no,
but like,
it's just like I feel like again, like we've talked about a lot on podcasts about like educating yourself and stuff. But like people, the amount of emails I get with no subject line that are like tattoo ? With no photo, no nothing, is absolutely fucking ridiculous. And please stop. Like, and I also just feel like I'm asking questions and they're not answering, and it's just like
Yeah.
It is so bare minimum of what you need to do in order to get the tattoo. Like, I just
Like,
feel like
yeah.
people.
Do you want the tattoo though?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just,
How about no?
I don't know. It's like, you know, and I do, speaking of the apprentices and such, the way that we do it here, I know a lot of other tattoo artists who really fucking hate answering messages, doing their scheduling. Like, they have to do it because that's the way that their setup is, but it like takes so much out of people to do that. So like, I know that everyone who works here is very appreciative that like they don't have to do that. Like, it's like a whole,
It takes so long.
yeah.
Yeah.
And if it's not your skill set, you suck at it, and then your business crumbles. Like you as like an individual is not, it's not good. It's
Yeah.
so hard. It's hard enough to design in the evenings and make sure you're ready for the week coming, or however far ahead you're designing. Imagine trying to do all the correspondence
No, thank you.
And then-
Imagine me responding to emails. How about no?
or like all of the accounting, all the booking, like it's like
No.
all of that shit. It's all of the back end of a business that we're artists. We don't want to fucking deal with that.
No, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm glad that I can make your guys' life easier.
Thank you.
Stop sending me dumb emails and don't call me.
Don't call me. Take the phone number off the billboard.
Please, pretty please, do not call the shop.
But yeah, hopefully people learn more about apprenticeships in this. We're not taking any for a hot minute. Mommy needs to go have a baby. So
Yo, the urge to talk about what I was just ranting about today. Like, I don't understand people's bodies. We're going to do a mom podcast and I'm going to be so unhinged.
Yeah,
and
Go for it.
I think it's so important to be honest about your experience.
I do want to ask, like, I'm going to put it in our Instagram story too, but we are hopefully going to do a mom podcast with Ange in on it next week.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's lots of moms who follow us on Instagram who would love like to ask questions about being a tattooed mom or like being a tattooer as a job as a mom. Like, I feel like there's lots of probably things that people want to know. So
For sure.
It's not a boys club anymore.
No.
It's a girls club.
It's a girls club.
She's and they's club. No boys.
I can't wait to shock society. I think I already do, but especially being a mom,
Yeah.
Push it a little further.
so much fun.
We're gonna have episodes of the baby just strapped to you. You're just like talking. Hey.
I really hope my kid is, I don't want them to be on social media at all, but I feel like that's hard to do.
Well, you could just have them in the little thing. You wouldn't even see their face.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. Anyways,
Well,
I have nothing to add.
no.
Not today.
it's just another day.
It's just another day.
Hopefully all this audio is great when I upload it, and then we could just guess all the time, baby. Riley all the time. Baby.
Riley. Oh, wow.
Microphone all the time.
Goodbye.
Okay, bye. We're out of here.
Goodbye.